Let's imagine a world where your InDesign workflow is not just efficient, but truly transformative. A world where creating, managing, and sharing design elements is seamless, quick, and powerful. Well, folks, that world is here thanks to BLOX Total CMS client plugin for Adobe InDesign. Welcome to a webinar that's about to change the way that you design forever. My name is Sam Jacks, Marketing and Social Media Manager with BLOX Digital. Today, we're thrilled to introduce you to the first version of the BLOX Total CMS client plugin for Adobe InDesign, expertly built on Adobe's UXP. This plugin is more than just an addition to your toolkit. It represents a leap forward in design efficiency and creativity. With features like page design snippets and design element snippets management, and the intuitive handling of snippets directly through the InDesign flyout panel, creating, exporting, searching, placing, and deleting snippets has never been easier. Plus, with the simple installation via the Adobe Creative Cloud desktop app, enhanced performance, and a refined user experience, this plugin is designed to integrate into and elevate your current workflow seamlessly. Today, you're going to see how these capabilities can directly benefit your design process, making it more efficient and enjoyable. We encourage everyone to actively participate, ask questions in the Q&A, and explore how this tool can be tailored to your specific needs. Before we dive in, it's my pleasure to introduce our hosts, Cody Dyer, Project Manager, who has been instrumental in bringing this project to life. Audrey Borges, the talented developer behind the scenes, making sure that everything runs smoothly. And John Winters, our product architect, whose vision has guided this product from concept to completion. Thanks to everyone for joining us today, and let's get started to explore the future of design with BLOX Total CMS client plugin for Adobe InDesign. Take it away, Cody.
All right, thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us today. We're pleased to announce the first version of the BLOX Total CMS client plugin for Adobe InDesign is now available. The first version of the plugin, built on Adobe's Unified Extensibility Platform, or UXP, includes support for design element snippets and page design snippets. For the first time, as Sam mentioned, snippets exported using the BLOX Total CMS plugin are accessible through an InDesign flyout panel. This new functionality allows users to seamlessly create, export, search, place, and remove snippets within the Adobe InDesign environment. The plugin is installed directly through the Adobe Creative Cloud desktop application, and we'll show you how that's done here this morning, providing an enhanced, efficient workflow for BLOX Total CMS users working with Adobe InDesign. The plugin delivers improved user experience and integration, marking a significant upgrade for designers working with BLOX Total CMS for Adobe InDesign. Eventually, the plugin will replace the legacy ExtendScript-based BLOX Total CMS client down the road. We certainly do recommend that sites use the plugin to export existing design element snippets and page design snippets. Keep in mind the plugin is compatible with Adobe InDesign Creative Cloud 2024 and future versions. In fact, Adobe just released InDesign Creative Cloud 2025 here this week. Today, we'll show you how to find and install the BLOX Total CMS plugin for Adobe InDesign before demonstrating how it works. We'll follow the demonstration with a Q&A session. To get us started, Audrey will show you how to find and download the plugin from the Adobe Creative Cloud application. Take it away, Audrey.
Hello, everyone. Today, I'll show you how quick and easy it is to find and install the BLOX Total CMS plugin for Adobe InDesign, as well as where to find the documentation on our help site so that you can make the most of this plugin. Okay, so there are two ways to install it. You can either use the Adobe Exchange website, or if you have the Adobe Creative Cloud desktop installed, you can install it directly from there. Here's how. In the menu bar at the top of the page, click on Creative Cloud. Under App Type, on the left side, select Plugins if it is not already selected. Next, you're going to type in the search bar and search for BLOX Total CMS. So you'll see we have the Photoshop one, but today we want to download InDesign. And we have some details about it, such as the version and some photos, but just to show you how to download it, we're going to click right here. I've downloaded it previously, so it says acquired already. Yours will probably say free. So I'm going to click here to manage it. And then it's going to open the Creative Cloud desktop app since I have that installed. And then right here, I'm going to click install and click OK. So if an admin password is required, at this time you'll be prompted to enter it. And then after installation, a confirmation message will appear along with a prompt to open InDesign. Okay. So, and to use the plugin, once InDesign is open, you'll go to plugins in the menu bar and click BLOX Total CMS. Cody will get to that in a moment. For detailed installation instructions and other helpful resources, such as how to log in, search for image assets, and create image assets, visit the BLOX digital help site, which is this. We have lots of helpful documentation, including just information about the plugin, guidelines on how to use it, logging in, creating a snippet, deleting a snippet, and a whole lot more. Please note that the plugin requires InDesign version 18.5 or higher. Additionally, for those with an enterprise license, the InDesign plugin can be pushed to users via the management console in Creative Cloud, allowing for remote installation. Upgrading to an enterprise license is often more cost-effective for users or for organizations with multiple users. Now, Cody is going to demonstrate how to use the plugin.
All right, everyone, let's get started with the demo portion of today's webinar. We'll show you the key features of the BLOX Total CMS plugin and how it can enhance your snippets workflow inside Adobe InDesign. Let's dive in. First, let's locate the plugin. Unlike most Adobe InDesign panels, BLOX Total CMS is not under the window menu here in Adobe InDesign. Instead, go to the Plugins menu, and you'll find BLOX Total CMS and BLOX Total CMS panel. If you ever close the panel, this is how you'll bring it back up. The BLOX Total CMS plugin for Adobe InDesign returns as a panel, which benefits designers who are used to working with Creative Cloud libraries. So again, this panel can be opened, it can be closed, it can be expanded, it can be adjusted manually. You can break this guy out like your other Adobe InDesign panels. So a lot of neat options here with the BLOX Total CMS panel. To log in, enter the server address associated with the domain where your user account was created, along with your email and password. This will be the same email address and password used to log into the domain from the CMS or legacy BLOX Total CMS client for Adobe InDesign. And keep in mind, if you're not familiar with your server address name, not a problem. There's two little options up here in the upper right-hand corner of the BLOX Total CMS panel. The E stands for Eastern or for Eastern Data Center, and the M stands for Midwest or the Midwestern Data Center. So for today's demonstration, I'm going to choose M. I'm going to be working out of the Midwestern or Chicago Data Center. So now we just need to provide our login credentials. So email and password. You'll notice as I start to type the password, the login button becomes enabled. So I'll go ahead and click on login. Once logged in, you can select or change the domain from the domain drop-down menu if you have a user account in multiple domains. And you'll be able to confirm login once the domain drop-down menu becomes active here. So now we're officially logged in. You'll see the login button becomes grayed out or disabled. The logout button is now enabled, and now I can choose which domain that I want to work out of. Again, in some cases, some sites, users may have user accounts in multiple domains because you work out of multiple domains. Some sites work out of just one domain. So next, we're going to go ahead and move over from the login options here over to snippets. And keep in mind, the BLOX Total CMS plugin for Adobe InDesign has three primary purposes: placing snippets, exporting snippets, viewing, searching, and filtering snippets. And it's important to note here that nothing will show up in the panel until you export some snippets first. So the first time you go to log in, you don't see anything here. That's okay. That's perfectly normal. That's where the content comes from, of course. So we want to be sure to have exported snippets to work with. All right, let's discuss filtering and updates. I'm going to go ahead and make this guy a little bit smaller. There we go. BLOX Total CMS makes filtering snippets easy. The system updates automatically without clicking the update button found up here in the upper right-hand corner of the BLOX Total CMS panel, unless someone has made new snippets you haven't downloaded yet. The plugin also adjusts what appears in the panel based on its size, and it's powered by modern HTML5, including flex display options for smooth resizing. Now, if you click Reset, it will show the default snippets for your user, which are categorized by default as design element snippets. So once you get logged in, the design element flag will be automatically selected. There's some user preferences to change that we'll discuss here later on in the demonstration. You can scroll through and notice how the preview height is relative to the size of the snippets compared to the page they were exported from. This ensures a more accurate preview of the snippets. If you're looking for a snippet someone recently created, you can use the recent option up here. You'll notice there's options to filter in the last 10 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day, and up to 1 year. You're not seeing the 10-minute option. We hadn't made anything in the last 10 minutes, but if somebody had exported a snippet within the last 10 minutes, you would see that 10-minute option, but you're seeing 1 day, 30 days, and 1 year from here. Additionally, there's a creator filter. So if you collaborate with your team or with a team, you can quickly find snippets by specific contributors. So again, from the creator drop-down menu here, if I want to filter by a contributor, I could do so. The exclamation mark, let me go ahead and choose a contributor here. The exclamation mark next to the creator's name is a quick way for the template master to see things that they didn't create. So again, if I wanted to see content and see page design snippets that I didn't create as a template master, I can check the exclamation mark flag here, and that'll return everything that I didn't create. All right, so I'm going to hit the reset option here. Now let's go over more advanced filtering options. You can filter snippets by favorites. There's a favorites flag up here that you can select. And this will build as you work. The plugin automatically keeps track of your most frequently used snippets. You can access them at any time. You can also search using the search text field here. And I'm going to go ahead and start by typing. So you'll notice here, when you start to type in some words here into the search field, the search updates dynamically as you type. If you search for something that doesn't exist, it's no problem. Just hit reset, and you'll be back to your original view. Now, let's play some snippets. And I'm going to start off by unselecting my design element snippet option here. And I'm going to select the page design snippet option here so we can get a good look at all of the available page design snippets. And for placing snippets, I'm going to make the grid view a little bit larger here. That's, again, another nice feature of having this the BLOX Total CMS plugin as a true panel. I can expand my grid view here as large as I want to make it, so I can see more snippets at one time without having to scroll. So with my page design snippet filtering option selected, my next step here is to find the snippet that I want to use, the page design snippet that I want to use. So I'll scroll down here. Once I've got it located, again, all you need to do, select and then double click, and it's going to place automatically. So again, that's going to kind of match the behavior from the legacy BLOX Total CMS page design snippet menu. Again, when you select a page design snippet, we expect that guy to place automatically and snap into place. Now I'm going to unselect page design snippet and then choose design element snippet. Go ahead and filter this by me. So I'm just looking at snippets that I've created here recently. So I'm going to move over to a different document page here. And by the way, everyone, I'm working off a master document here for today's presentation. I'm not working off a live document. I'm working out of one of our master documents. So now I want to place a page, a design element snippet. So very similar to placing a page design snippet. I'll come over here, find the snippet that I want to use, select it, double click here. And when you double click a design element snippet, you'll see the place icon when your pointer is over the document. You can click where you want it on the page. So say I want to set this guy down right up here, my upper left hand. This will be my left hand above the fold story. Now, one of the other benefits, nice benefits of the BLOX Total CMS plugin for Adobe InDesign is you can place multiple snippets in sequence. This feature helps quickly organize several design elements. So for example here, say I was wanting to fill this page out with more design element snippets, story shell design element snippets, so I can start placing content. I'll come over here back to my BLOX Total CMS panel, and I want a one column shell. And then we're going to look for a centerpiece here. There's my centerpiece that I want to use. And then I want to find one more asset here that I want to use for the below the fold bottom left. So once I have my snippet selected, and it may be a little difficult to see here through the recording, but there up in my place icon, there's a number there of 3. So that's indicating that I've got 3 snippets selected. And again, this is going to be able to place in sequence from the snippets that I selected. So I'm going to start with my left rel. And now with my left rel placed, the second snippet that I selected was my centerpiece package. So I'm going to put that guy down here. Okay. And then finally, I have my last but not least story shell snippet that I want to place below the fold. And there we go. So once I have that selected and placed, now I can make a few modifications here. Make sure this is all going to fit nice and neat. Come back up. Need a couple horizontal rules, so I'll go ahead and select. And again, I've selected that twice, so these will place in sequence. Got one there, and I'll place one right here, and make a couple adjustments here. Move my horizontal rule up. There we go. So again, really, really easy, expedited process here using and placing snippets from the BLOX Total CMS panel. With a few snippets placed, let's discuss exporting a snippet. First, we'll need to select the frames you want to export, as always. And now we're going to return back to the BLOX Total CMS panel. Under the Snippets tab, we're going to choose the New button. That's going to open up and return the BLOX Total CMS Export Snippet dialog. Here you'll see the option to create labels, choose whether to keep non-asset text, and select folders. So let's run through these options here just to review each of them. The first option here is the Maintain All. This option selects and retains all the frames. Next is Set File References to Match. This ensures that all frames capable of holding content use the same file reference placeholder. This is particularly beneficial for design element snippets and important for what we're doing here today in regards to exporting a design element snippet that's going to be used for a story shell. Next is the Create Label After Export. When this is selected, This function creates a label for the snippet file. Once the snippet is exported or replaced, a label will be generated inside a frame adjacent to the document showing the label and other snippet details such as the publication code and location. You can see that here. And we'll go ahead and we'll use that in a few moments when we export this new snippet. And finally, there's the keep non-asset text flag here. This option allows the snippet to retain its existing text during export. Typically, the export snippet process replaces the text with the element type, e.g. print headline, main story, print subhead, etc. This option keeps the original formatted text. Underneath these options is the folder directory tree. This was available to specific users, typically the template master, when logged into development mode using the legacy BLOX Total CMS client. There is an option to create a new folder. You can give it a name. Once you're happy with the name, you can either click the check mark box here to accept or click the X to abort. Do keep in mind the folder directory tree is not as important now because the search options in the panel exist. So the legacy folder structure that we're used to using the legacy BLOX Total CMS client to export snippets won't be as important here going forward once everybody's using the BLOX Total CMS panel to export and update snippets. Underneath the folder directory tree is options for publication codes. This is very important as it creates automatic filtering in the panel and indicates that a page design snippet can be used as a page content type snippet. The best practice here is to not click select all, except for special purposes. Leaving everything unchecked means that it is for use with all current and future publication codes. It's important to note that select all won't automatically make that snippet available for new publication codes when you have select all checked. If a publication code is checked explicitly for page design snippets, it turns that snippet into one that will auto-match page content types in the legacy client, starting with client 5.72. And just keep in mind that we released client version 5.73 yesterday. This replaces the copies that had to be kept in the publication code specific folders and were painful to keep current. Now it's all automatic. And one more note on pub codes. When used with the legacy client, and we expect everybody will, the pub code checkbox will automatically update to the publication code of the active document. Underneath publication codes, we have options here for automated production page locations. These are used for automated production and design element snippets. If you know that a specific snippet is only suitable for certain page locations, such as your rels, your centerpiece, skybox, teaser, go ahead and check that. You'll be that much further along if you decide to test out automated production. And keep in mind, everybody, that we have finished development of the first phase of automated production. It's ready to go. We're working with some beta test sites right now to get that installed. And of course, even sites that may not be interested in beta testing in full, we're definitely looking for feedback as we roll into the second development phase of automated production. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to cancel out of here for a moment, and we'll just start from the top here and go ahead and export these frames that have earmarked and ready to go to become a story shell snippet. So again, we're going to go ahead and lasso the frames, come back to the BLOX Total CMS panel, Snippets tab, and choose the new option. So again, to confirm, I'm going to be exporting this as a design element snippet. So next, I just need to go ahead and give this guy a good name. And keep in mind, for those folks that are used to exporting snippets using the legacy BLOX Total CMS client export snippet option, same principles and rules apply here in regards to the name. You can't use special characters, things like apostrophes, anything like that. So we've got a 3-call shell here. So I'm going to go ahead and say 3-call shell with one IMG for image. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure maintain all is selected, set file references to match is selected. I'm not going to worry about publication codes here, but I am going to go ahead and earmark this guy for automated production page locations. We can use this in upper left, upper right, above the fold, anywhere. Bottom left, you bet, below the fold, and bottom right. Those are all good options here. So once we're happy, we're ready to go, we can go ahead and choose the Export Snippet button. Okay, so now our panel is going to update here. I'm going to go ahead and just filter real quick. I know that I made that, and I know I made this guy within the last hour. I'll go ahead and do an update. And there's our new snippet. So again, we can confirm. And the nice thing about the BLOX Total CMS plugin for Adobe InDesign, obviously we've talked about the previews a little bit here during today's discussion. But once we've exported the snippet, just to kind of hit home on the points, yeah, the information that the panel provides, again, this is, I think, a game changer for anybody that is used to using Creative Cloud libraries. But beyond that, obviously, we also have a lot of information that the BLOX Total CMS panel provides. So here's our page locations. Here's our public or our snippet name. We earmark this for all publications. It also returns the article depth. So this is estimated about 13.5 inches. Again, here's our design element type, along with the UUID. So again, this guy really does a great job in regards to not only providing an excellent preview to be able to select what we want to place on a page, but a lot of good information that the legacy BLOX Total CMS client has simply never provided. Let's talk about managing snippets in your workflow. You can use Update, located again up here in the upper right-hand corner of the BLOX Total CMS panel, to refresh your snippets with the latest versions. This is particularly useful if you work with a team and snippets are updated frequently. It saves you from having to track down updates manually. To replace a snippet, again, you'll select your frames and come back up to the BLOX Total CMS panel and choose the new option. Replace snippet and export snippet will automatically update all users using the BLOX Total CMS plugin panel the next time they update and or place a snippet. This is true for remote distributed production users too. It's actually one of the reasons we decided the first Adobe InDesign plugin would be for our snippets. If you export the exported frames with this function, the snippet should automatically update when you use the Replace Snippet button. So in this case here, this is the snippet that I had previously exported for the first time. And now, again, I've gone to the BLOX Total CMS panel, clicked on New, and you'll see here, this is my same naming convention, and the Export Snippet button has been grayed out, disabled, and the Replace Snippet button is now active and enabled. So at this point here, I'm going to go ahead and choose Replace Snippet. And then we have our update in progress. That's happening in real time. And there is our updated snippet. Now keep in mind for sites that continue to use folders to organize snippets, let me go ahead and get this popped open here. So in other words, you're using the folder and directory tree, and you have established folders here within the folder directory tree. You might click on an existing snippet. That will automatically populate the snippet name field located up here and activate the Replace Snippet button as we saw previously. But because you are ready to replace a snippet in a folder, you may not be replacing an existing snippet in the database. Keep that in mind. And if you don't replace a database snippet with the same name, you now have two snippets with the same name. And by that, what I mean, let me go ahead and go back to our snippets panel here. Scroll up. Here we go. This is a good example here. So these two snippets are named the same. And when they were replaced in the database, they were replaced using a folder. When that happened, the second snippet here, we have two now with the same name. And when this happens, you'll see a underscore followed by a number in the prefix. So when two or more snippets exist with the same name, you will see what appears to be a random number after the name in the Snippets tab. That's all the number means. The good news is the snippet is still usable. But keep in mind, you may not be replacing, again, an existing snippet in the database. And if you don't replace a database snippet with the same name, you will have two with the same name. So one of those things where we were definitely pushing here for sites to think about abandoning and not using the folder directory tree. So when we're exporting straight to the database. So another quick note here and final thought on folders. Back to the Snippets tab here, we're going to click Reset. And let's take a look here. So one of the filtering options that we have available to us here from the BLOX Total CMS panel in the Snippets tab is the folder structure. So again, if you are a site that plans to continue to use the folder structure and tree, keep in mind here that the folders that you'll see, or the folders that exist that have been created, will be returned here, while the Place Snippets menu items still exist in the legacy client, at least for a few more versions. If the site uses the BLOX Total CMS plugin, users should rely upon it to export and really place snippets, because, again, the folder structure here really isn't as important or vital with the BLOX Total CMS plugin. Lastly, let's take a quick look at the preferences. You can access them by clicking the Preferences shortcut icon located in the upper right-hand corner of the BLOX Total CMS panel. So when you click on the gear icon, the BLOX Total CMS Preferences dialog opens up. Here, you can customize what data appears in the Snippets grid view, adjust the number of favorites to display from the grid view in the BLOX Total CMS panel, and set the default snippet type when you reset the panel. So again, if you, by default right now, design element snippet is my default snippet type, but you can change that to page design snippet from here. And there's also a show remove checkbox. So you have the option to display remove snippets. We don't recommend leaving this enabled, but it's useful as a disaster recovery tool to restore deleted snippets. And finally, there's a update all snippets option here. For template masters, this preference re-exports all the snippets in the master document. This is useful for updating a legacy master document to the new snippet format. So for template masters out there, keep that in mind. And we certainly thought about all the existing snippets that may obviously live currently. So this will be an option here for template masters to re-export those snippets in the new format. Couple things here before we wrap up the demo portion of today's session. I want to highlight some limitations with the first version of the BLOX Total CMS plugin for Adobe InDesign. The plugin doesn't support multiple servers yet, and we emphasize yet, but we're working on it for the next release. So that's going to be available for the next release. Also, snippets exporting using the legacy export method won't appear in this panel. To ensure everything is synced, you'll want to use the BLOX Total CMS plugin for Adobe InDesign to export and place snippets. That brings us to the end of today's webinar demo. As you can see, the BLOX Total CMS plugin for Adobe InDesign provides a powerful integrated way to manage content in Adobe InDesign. Whether placing snippets, exporting them, or filtering your content, this tool offers a streamlined, flexible workflow, and we look forward to all of our BLOX Total CMS sites eventually downloading the plugin and starting to use them and export and use this tool for snippets. Thank you, everybody. All right, everybody. We definitely want to open up the floor now for questions. Go into our question and answer portion of today's webinar. So feel free to ask some questions. So we've had a few folks go ahead and type in some questions here. First question is, can you project a timeline on multiple server support and snippet controls? So the next release, we don't have an estimate yet for, I don't believe, John, I don't believe we have an estimate for that yet. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't have a plan on it. I'm not sure why my video is not there either. But anyway, I don't have a planned date on when we'll get that going, but it is one of the top priority items for the next version.
And then we have another question here. So this plugin is simply replacing the drop-down blocks BLOX Total CMS menu in InDesign mostly. That's correct. So in regards to the macro here, eventually the BLOX Total CMS plugin for Adobe InDesign is going to replace the legacy BLOX Total CMS client script that we've used through today. So again, the first incarnation of the plugin includes snippet support, but as development continues, we'll continue to replace the existing legacy BLOX Total CMS menu options with the new plugin for Adobe InDesign.
What's the
Yeah.
timeline for full replacement of the legacy plugin, Cody?
It's probably gonna be within the next couple of years. It's good. We still obviously have a lot of other projects that we're working on. Audrey and John are working on, so development will continue, but it's probably gonna be about a two-year lift to get everything completed.
Can I add
Awesome,
something
man.
there? Just
Yeah. Oh,
to-
sorry, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, so one of the things that's going to happen once we get the cross domain for the snippets is we'll add open by status to the plugin, which doesn't really do us that much because it exists perfectly fine in the legacy version. But we're going to get previews of the pages in a panel with the plugin. So you'd be able to open pages by double clicking on the previews the same way we saw that we could place snippets by double clicking on the previews. And that's something that people have asked for, some ability to see the pages and filter the pages to find my pages that I got to work on and yet see what the status of the whole publication is.
We had another question come through that says, it was mentioned that this only supports InDesign 2024. Exchange does show support for InDesign 23. Will 23 be supported for the foreseeable future?
Can I answer that?
You bet. Go ahead, John.
Yes, so it actually requires 23.5, 23.5, or what would technically be version 19.5. It will run. We would prefer you to be on 24 because as of yesterday or Monday, when Adobe released Creative Cloud 2025, Adobe's official policy is they support the current version, which is now 2025, and the version before, which is now 2024. And so they no longer support 2023. And that's our official support process as well. So yes, it works, but you ought to upgrade.
What about if someone doesn't have Template Master? Do they have to do each snippet individually to get it into the plugin?
No. Well, let's back up. So the template master is kind of a role of a site. If the site was well maintained, all of the original snippets are going to exist inside of a master document. That's if the site has been well maintained. And that doesn't matter whether they have a template master or not. It's if the site's been well maintained. There is a document, which we call the master document, where all those snippet originals exist. And then any user can use that process that Cody pointed out the button to in the demo, and that will then re-export every snippet in that document. You will see the dialogue for everyone because you might want to make some changes because there's a lot of features in that dialogue that are new features.
Sure.
But you don't have to go through and find the frames, select the frames, go to export, repeat, find the frames, select the frames, go to export. So it does automate things, but you're still going to see the dialogue.
Will the plugin limit snips just to the specific publisher by domain of the page, or does the user see the snip for all pub domains that they work on?
The pub code checkbox, which by default is turned on if you're in a live document, will automatically update to match the document you have open and thus automatically filter the snippets, regardless of what kind of snippet they are, to those of the pub code that you're working on. So
Wonderful.
does that answer that?
Wonderful. We had another question that came through that states, we paginate multiple publications that each have their own snippets, so the folder system helps us to keep them separate. Will we be able to filter the search so we only see the snippets for the publication that we're working on?
That's the same thing we just answered. It'll automatically pick those up by the publication code, which is one of the reasons why the whole thing with the folders is now becoming a moot point. It used to be
Perfect.
required. It's now problematic, if you will. It just adds complexity.
Oh. And just to clarify, will the customer have to export their current snippets into the plugin?
Yes.
Yes.
And again, that's what that, if a well-maintained site would have all the snippets placed in a document. If you're not a well-maintained site, go create a brand new document, place all your existing snippets, and then run that thing that we call the template master feature to update all the snippets, and it'll just prompt you through each one of them. It doesn't take very long.
Amazing. Well, Cody, Audrey, John, any last words?
I just want to again thank everyone for joining us again in your time here this morning. And keep in mind, for more information about the BLOX Total CMS client plugin for Adobe InDesign, as Audrey pointed out earlier, please visit our help site for complete documentation and instructions.
Wonderful. Well, again, from everyone at BLOX Digital, we want to thank you all for joining us today. Have a great day.